Welcome to Spark Rugby League. Today on the agenda we're going to talk about Magic Weekend. So obviously it's just been in Liverpool at Anfield. Jack, you were there. Would you say it was a success?
You know what, I would. Compared to all the bad press it got beforehand, where people were saying there were only 13,000 tickets bought, etc., it was going to be a disaster after Newcastle. It wasn't actually that bad. I think the overall attendance was 56,000, which, admittedly, I think is the second lowest Magic Weekend has ever had. But I think overall the atmosphere was really good. And I think Liverpool itself, the city, really embraced it. I know the buzz around the place was just as good as it always is. And I think with Magic Weekend, you're never going to have a bad time. It's always going to be a good experience wherever you go. But no, I thought, in hindsight of all the bad press it got before, I know what everyone was saying about it, it was actually a resounding success.
Yeah, we talk about want it to be it's always going to be a good time at Magic Weekend for the fans, but we want it to be the best time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of fans feel that was in Newcastle. So Richard, for you, do we go back to Newcastle or do we look for somewhere new now for next year?
Right, I'm going to take a counterpoint. I think it's run its course. Right. Personal view, never been. Wouldn't go. Why wouldn't I go? Young lad, Cardiff, long way, 4.5 hours drive, overnight, tickets, food, drink. It's a 300-400 quid touch. Family with 2 kids, it's an awful lot of expense. Yes, I understand that it's a good atmosphere, it's a good celebration of rugby league. It showcases the game, which I think that's what it set out to do. But does not the fact that we're asking where should it be next time tell us that, well, if we're scratching his heads, is it not time to chuck it all in? I don't know. I've always thought it was almost a marketing ploy. There's a lot of money involved, there's a lot of money to be made. But having said that, what was it, 56,000 attendance this.
Yeah. We
had the highest round, 76,000 something at Easter in the Super League. So what's wrong with that? It's why can't Sky tell it? Why can't we put all the matches on over maybe Easter weekend or something like that? Staggered kickoff, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Showcase it like that on TV, screen it across the world, or do we go to Toronto? That's where they want us to go next. The players will be Toronto. Might even be going there next season in the Super League. Do we go to the Nou Camp? That was really successful. It surprised me. It's probably a one-off. And would I have gone if my team had been playing there? Yeah, I would. Weekend in Barcelona. And you can do 2 things. You can hit 2 birds with 1 stone with that, with a bit of a family holiday, and go and watch your favourite team.
Could you not do that with Magic Weekend though? If it was in Barcelona next year, would you not want to go?
Barcelona is a different kettle of fish to say Liverpool, or where do we go to Old Trafford?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the point of this, isn't this? Because Magic Weekend, was it not brought in to it was for expansion, wasn't it? It's obviously it's a great weekend, but if it's in Manchester, if it's in Liverpool, we've already got rugby league in those areas. So is that the answer? Is Magic Weekend, if we're going to do it, does it need to be in Barcelona? Does it need to be in Dublin? Does it need to be in London? Does it need to be somewhere where it's going to expand the game?
I think one thing that's always been good about Magic Weekend is it's an original concept. It's something that Rugby League itself and the RFL and the Super League it's their baby sort of thing. They've born it out themselves, they've promoted it, and they've made it successful. And you look at football, rugby union. There's nothing really similar. I mean, you could probably say the Sevens weekends that they get at Twickenham and stuff like that is a similar thing. But I think it shows something as well. The NRL even this year have taken it on. They had their own Magic round, a couple of weeks ago at Suncorp in Brisbane. So I think the fact that it's our original concept is what's always, for me, been the underlying factor in that it's something that we created and we want to keep. And I know you differ from me in your opinions, but I've always had a good experience. I've been to every single. I think I've only ever missed one day of it, which was 2008, and I've been to the week. I've been over the whole weekend every year, and it's always a highlight of the season. It's something a bit different. You're not going to the same grounds that you've always been to. It's a bit of a sort of rugby league pilgrimage in a way. It's Magic Weekend, and for a start, I would like it to stay. I don't think it's run its course. I think there's still areas we could explore that we haven't done. I know one that's not been mentioned yet is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah.
There was a report the other week that they've reportedly put in a bid to host it there in the next year, maybe year after rather. I think that's, why not? Why not take it? I think, yes, I loved it in Newcastle. I think out of all the venues we've had, Newcastle was the best because it was a big enough ground. Newcastle really wanted it. Location-wise, it was ideal. It had the Strawberry pub outside, created a cracking atmosphere. It's right in the city centre. Literally, as you come into Newcastle, the skyline is at the top of the skyline is the stadium. So I think that's the perfect place in terms of location, etc. But I think with Magic Weekend, you've got to experiment. I think that's why they went to Anfield. They wanted to try it a bit different, see if it worked there. Arguably it has, arguably it hasn't. That's for the RFL to look at the stats and look at what's important to them, consider whether or not they like it there, and perhaps move somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think that's ultimately what it's about, is expanding the game in corners of the UK or in the world that we've not seen it played yet, and having this big event that actually draws people in.
So that big crowd we've had at the new camp a few weeks ago, Catalans and Wigan are already talking about a repeat fixture next year. Should we not put Magic Weekend there? They've got 30,000 for one match. Surely over a weekend we can get, maybe not the numbers we get. Well, yeah, possibly we could get the numbers we get at Anfield in the new camp. Would you not agree? Would that make it worthwhile?
I think it would. The new camp is different. It's exotic. It's in a different country, and it's a bit. Let's go for a weekend out. Where shall we go? Liverpool. Yeah, it's a nice city, but it's not got that wow factor that Barcelona's got. It's worth a try, I guess, isn't it? I mean, you mentioned about Newcastle, and I get Newcastle. I know Newcastle. St James's is in the city centre. You look at London. Yeah, lovely stadiums. Wembley's an option, but as soon as you go to Wembley or Tottenham Hotspur or anywhere like that, as soon as you leave that ground, you dissipate into this city of 8 million people, and you might not even see another rugby league fan in the centre of London, up west, after the game. Whereas I know for a fact in places like Newcastle, there'll be that festival, that carnival atmosphere where you're seeing rival fans and you're having a bit of banter.
Yeah.
You'd lose that in London. I'm not entirely sure where New Camp is compared to Barcelona city centre, but I do know in Barcelona city centre, your British Rugby League fans would stand out.
Yeah.
And you probably will get that carnival atmosphere, and I guess the Spanish people will make something of it as well.
Yeah.
I'd say that's as good as anything. I mean, do you go to one of the big... we had it in Cardiff, didn't we? Was that ever going to expand the game in Wales? I mean, Wales has got a fine, proud heritage and tradition of rugby union. It's ingrained there. I think if you chopped a Welshman in half, you'd set rugby union in the middle of him.
Yeah.
Are we going to get any converts to rugby league? They'd probably watch it and think, oh, that's really good, but I don't think we are.
No.
So, yeah, Barcelona, why not?
Well, we've got some. I think Barcelona. We always talk about logistics, getting that many fans over there. It's going to be in trouble with flights. Are going to go up, hotels are going to go up. So you're talking about your expensive weekend in Cardiff. Probably looking at double that to go to Barcelona. But I mean, that's probably Barcelona's the edge of where we can go, because we're talking about Toronto, Ottawa, New York.
Yeah.
I think that's just too far for a whole weekend. I don't mind. Obviously, next season Toronto are likely to come up. One game away there, one team travelling over is manageable, but all 12 Super League teams fans going all the way across the world to Toronto, I think would be too much. I think Barcelona's probably the edge. But if we don't go to Barcelona and we keep it here, obviously we mentioned London, go back to Newcastle, Cardiff, Coventry, Villa Park, is the Midlands an option?
Maybe. I think, well, I mean, Rugby League tried Coventry, didn't they, a couple of years ago with some of the England fixtures.
Yeah.
And it was a fairly decent success. You know, they can't say they didn't do a decent job, but I'm not you know, we're trying to be realistic here and trying to expand the game, obviously, into parts that we've not been to. But is the Midlands really calling out for Rugby League? That's the question that we've got to ask. I mean, you look at Newcastle really wanted it. They were really, you know, they pushed for it. I think their tourism board had Magic Weekend for, you know, 3 or 4 of the years it was there as their sort of top event of the year for 3 years running, which I think says something about how much of a success that was. I doubt it'll be the same in Anfield. I doubt the Liverpool Tourism Board will have the same sort of attitude, but I'm not sure. I think if we're talking about Nou Camp again, I think that's a bit quick for next season, if I'm honest. I think we need to keep building that relationship with Barcelona. I mean, Catalans have done a stellar job. They've done really well. I think they marketed the hell out of that game as well. That Wigan game, they didn't half market it. You saw there was so much stuff on social media. I think I've seen pictures of the signposting and stuff in Barcelona city centre of how much they were pushing that game to the public. I can't say I've seen the figures for how many people that actually went to that game were Rugby League fans, or were just people from Barcelona that were wanting to try something a bit different, or just wanting to go to the Nou Camp. I think those stats would be really interesting to look at, to see how many sort of locals were actually taken in by the marketing that was done. But I think it's realistic, the Nou Camp in the future at some point. I don't see it not happening.
Do you not think we should do it now though, while it's hot?
I know what you're saying, but I think if we can keep it hot, I think that's the key point, is not letting that relationship drop. I think we need more events there, like I know Wigan have, like you mentioned, have said about a repeat fixture again next year at the same place. Maybe even a different one. Maybe Catalan's taking 2 or 3 games there at all. Like, was it Wigan that took a couple of games on tour to London, didn't they? I think a couple of years ago, Millwall. Yeah. If Catalans do a similar thing and take a couple of games in the summer to the Nou Camp, I think that keeps the relationship up. And then maybe, I don't know, we look at 2022, 2021, a couple of years down the line, when we've actually had time to think logistically, not rush into it, but think logistically about what we can happen, how to organise it so that all the fans can still get over that want to go, create decent packages for the weekend, and market it to not, we've got to, at the end of the day, think about the Rugby League fans at the core. Yes, think about expanding, but you've got to still consider the Rugby League fans that are still wanting to go to it. And if we can get all of those sort of factors into one decent model for the weekend, then I definitely see it happening.
I'd like to see the breakdown for the where the fans came from. For the Wigan Catalan game.
Yeah.
Were they Wigan fans? Were they Catalan fans? Or did we drag people in from southwest France? Because Jouatres is played at amateur level in southwest France. Toulouse and places like that. There's a lot of amateur teams. So did people, curious Rugby League fans from southwest France, go as well? So that'd be quite interesting to see.
And obviously Barcelona's Twitter feed, Barcelona Football Club's Twitter feed. So if they dragged some of their season ticket holders in,
you don't know, do you?
I think we need those figures perhaps before we look at it. But in one word, where would you have it next year?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say Spurs.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say Spurs,
What about you, Richard?
On the grounds at the weekend, someone said to me, Liverpool, isn't that an home game for St Helens?
Basically.
I'm going to go back to Newcastle.
Well, I think that's probably the popular decision. Guys, where would you have Magic Weekend next year? Like, subscribe and let us know in the comments.